Folks, welcome. Welcome, everybody, to the LeeGOP Candidate Forum. What a crowd. What a place. Tremendous turnout. We've got so many great candidates here today. And let me tell you, folks, a huge thank you to the incredible volunteers and moderators who put this whole thing together. They did a fantastic job, believe me. Nobody puts on a better forum than these people. And how about David Gant and Susie Allen? Wow, I'm hearing absolutely fantastic things about these two. Great, great people. Real sharpshooters, the best. Winners, folks. They're going to do tremendous things. They're like the complete opposite of Sleepy Joe and Kamala. Total opposite. And folks, you got to join the LeeGOP. Go to LeeGOP.org right now. Sign up, check out the events and meetings. Tremendous stuff. Don't wait. Join today. You'll be glad you did. And now, folks, on to the forum. Candidates, get ready. It's your time to shine. Let's make this the best one yet. Tremendous!
If you're going to carry on the conversations, you'll need to do it in the lobby. All right, Ms. Sue, you take off.
I'd like you to welcome the Cape Coral mayoral candidates to the podium, and if you would please each stand up, give your name, what you're running for, which is Cape Coral mayor, and whether you're an ECI committed candidate.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rick Erickson. I'm bringing my leadership to Cape Coral as a Cape Coral mayor, and yes, I am.
Richard Leone for Cape Coral mayor. I am a candidate that has the badge. Thank you.
Lisa Cohen-Adkinson, and yes, I am
All right, well, thank you, all three of you, for being here today. We appreciate being part of LeeGOP and sharing with us. So we're going to do the quick fire rapid questions. You should have your panels there. And if you could raise them high so the audience could see them. All right, so the first question that we have is, would you support the continued use or the expansion of AI-enabled automated license plate readers, they're commonly called flock cameras, only if strict privacy, data retention, access, and audit safeguards are publicly enforced? Yes or no? Okay, thank you. Would you care to share why? Just a quick, we do 20 seconds, just a quick, like, for those that said no and yes, if you could just share what your concerns are.
If there were truly privacy rights worked into that, then I would support it, if there aren't currently. So if there were, then yes, but if they're not, then no.
How about you, Richard?
Yeah, I think it's important that it's just having the ability to feel safe in your community, that the government's not spying on you and trying to get things to do things for you.
I appreciate that clarification. And Richard Erickson?
How you doing? I feel the same way. I think it violates our privacy. In fact, I personally received 2 tickets in the mail for a road that I wasn't on, so within 2 minutes apart. So that's just one of my reasons why. I don't know. I'm contesting it, so let's see what happens.
Right, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. All right, next rapid fire. Would you support requiring every discretionary or unrestricted city fund to have a clearly stated public purpose, itemized expenditures, and regular independent auditing? Thank you. Number 3, would you pledge that campaign contributors, major developers, and large city contractors will receive no greater access or priority from your office than an ordinary Cape Coral resident? Would you oppose a development project that meets minimum zoning requirements but creates substantial avoidable harm to the wetlands, wildlife habitat, water quality, or the canal ecosystem?
You said oppose that?
Would you oppose a development project that meets minimum zoning requirements but it creates substantial other problems such as harm to the wetlands, wildlife, quality, or the canal ecosystem?
Oppose meaning that we do not
Yes,
want the
so
harm.
I'll read it one more time. Would you oppose a development project that meets the minimum zoning, but it's going to create other problems, such as avoidable harm to wetlands, wildlife habitat. You would oppose that. Okay, very good. All right, thank you. Next question is also an opposed question. Would you oppose any increase in compensation for the mayor or city council unless voters approve it through a public referendum?
It has to be voted on.
Voted on, yes.
Would you oppose
Voted on
any
yes.
increase in compensation for the mayor or the city council unless voters approved it through a public referendum?
Give us a 30-second response.
Yes, please explain.
Yeah,
Who
perfect.
would like to do
Okay,
that?
so I think it's important that our charter's set up where it has to be approved by the voters. Would I approve for myself? No. I think there needs to be a plan where we do like 10 years down the road, and so no council that's voting on it has to touch it, but a future council can receive it.
Anybody else? You can also share.
Only if voters approve it. That is it. If it's not voted on, the voters don't say so, then the answer is no. Only if the voters approve it.
Never a stipend. Ever. 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 If people don't want it, I'm not taking it.
So thank you both. That was rapid fire. Okay, now we're going to go into the full length question. And this first one is about leadership style, teamwork, and working through others. So think about how you're going to get work done by working through other people. So Cape Coral operates under a council-mayor form of government. It's not the mayor that does the day-to-day administration or the city departments, but works as part of city council to help set that policy, to vote on budgets, and also represents the city publicly, and also works with the city mayor to ensure council priorities are implemented. Now, because the mayor is just one member of the governing body, effective leadership requires collaboration, communication, consensus building, public trust, and the ability to work through others to get results. Okay, that just sort of lays it out. Now, the question, as mayor, how would you describe your leadership style and what specific practices will you use to build collaboration, trust, and accountability with city council, the city mayor, city staff, regional partners, and the general public? And Lisa, we'll go with you first.
Communication. Keeping an open door to the community. They need to be involved in all of that, every bit of it. There needs to be a conversation with staff because they're also a part of the community. Everybody needs to have a say in what happens in every one of those things that we just said there. If you don't have the backing of the people, if the people are not in line with you, you shouldn't be doing it. It's another reason why they had to put up a $90,000 fence around the parking garage, or the parking lot. They upset the people so much because they don't listen. We need to be listening to the community above all else at all times.
Thank you. Richard, Liam, should I go next?
Thank you. So I think when you look at what type of leadership I can bring to the table, first and foremost, I have the experience of being on council. It's not a learning curve for me. It's day one. We're going straight into the budget. We're going straight into policies that need to be fixed for this city to be successful. The second thing that is really focused on as a manager, and not only customer service, but throughout my entire life, leading different teams and experiences through that, I've been able to gain really good insight, not just in other areas, but our community locally. Been able to serve with not only the Red Cross, with many other organizations. We've been able to really work together and really define that. It's about working together. You know, we're going to stand together. You know, when one person rises, we all rises, right? The mayor is the most important role. Don't let everybody say it's just one vote, it's just one. No, they set the tone for the city, and we've seen that with this past council. we've seen a mayor that hasn't really aligned with at least 4 of the members on council, and we need to really focus in on that and help drive that and bring that together. I think that's me kicking me off.
Thank you, Richard Lee. And then we'll go to Richard Erickson.
I did. I'll give you 10 seconds.
So, I was in the military for 32 years. I was a leader all the time in combat and non-combat operations. I sat down with village elders in war-torn nations and undeveloped areas. And I would take my strong leadership and empower the people that we work with and for, and help with whatever the community wants, have an open door policy, allow them to come and voice their opinion first, and build trust. Trust back to the community, because we don't have that right now. Even when you go to the meetings, they vote on things first, and then they give your opinion at the end. So the first thing is to build trust, show you powerful leadership, and once you have leadership and they trust you, the community becomes better. And that's why I open this community.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. All right, next topic for the question is going to be on traffic congestion, emergency access, and hurricane evacuation. So, traffic congestion in Cape Coral is more than a convenience issue. It affects public safety, emergency response, hurricane evacuation, economic activity, and just the quality of life. Because the mayor works through city council, the city manager, city staff, and regional partners, addressing traffic requires policy leadership, budget priorities, infrastructure planning, and intergovernmental coordination. The question is, as mayor, please show us your leadership by describing how you would use your role on city council to address traffic congestion. How would you improve emergency access or strengthen hurricane evacuation planning? We're really looking for you. This is your opportunity. Describe to us how you would do that as a leader.
Does it matter?
You still first go right ahead.
Okay, perfect.
To know what type of leadership style I have, I want you to experience a week of mine in 2016 when I was on city council. We were on the Metropolitan Planning Organization that helps define, the transportation needs for not only our city but our county and Southwest Florida as a whole. Our conversation was LeeTran and figuring out some possibilities on how we can move forward with LeeTran. I decided to spend a week riding the bus to and from work, to and from council, and to the different pleasure needs that we were out at for that week. I gotta tell you, that was a crazy experience for me because my nearest bus stop from my house was a mile away. So I was walking a mile before the day and after the day for that whole week, and I gotta tell you, it was insane. And it helped me bring insight to that conversation, a conversation that nobody could have shared what kind of experience I had when talking with the elected officials. So that's the type of leadership I'm going to bring when we're talking about these types of transportation issues.
Okay, thank you, Richard. We'll go to Lisa next. Go ahead.
Traffic and infrastructure have to be at the top of the list. There is nothing worse than starting your day every single day in constant traffic. It just sets the tone, it just makes things difficult, and God forbid there's an emergency like you had stated. And I watch constantly. You come to an intersection, you hear the sirens, and I immediately start looking, where is it coming from, and how are we even going to get out of this way? And that right now, it's almost impossible. They have to sometimes go all the way around to try to get through that traffic, and it is just unacceptable. They need to widen the roads. We need to put turning lanes in so people can get out of the way. They need to do the expansions. They need to take, if it's a 2-lane, like Chiquita, for example, it's an evacuation route. It's 4 lanes. We need to make that 6 lanes. That needs to be done at a bare minimum. So these are the things that we need to be focused on. It's a part of the infrastructure. It's extremely important. It is one of those things, it's a dire need that we focus on that above all else in our city.
Lisa, Richard Erickson.
So everybody talks about spending, buying roads, making it wider. To make it wider, there's a lot of places that has houses there, businesses, so we're going to buy those businesses up. It costs a lot of money. I worked specifically with Emergency Operations Center in Tallahassee for hurricane evacuation, and any emergencies that we've had, so I have hands-on with that, and also in war-torn countries. So this is an accumulation of over 32 years. I want to bring that leadership here. I know how to talk to dignitaries, warlords, village elders, community assets to make that happen. How to get contracts or call the military in and help us out for those emergencies. But as far as building infrastructure, we have to sit down with everybody to find out what the best route is. I can't decide on my own. That's not a leader. A leader empowers everyone else to find the best resolution. I can't do it myself. We're going to work together, get everyone's input, and make it happen. That's the best way. I've been there before, worked on countries, and here, ground zero, many ground zeros, not just one. And that's how we did it. We all worked together as a team and made it happen.
Thank you. All right, the next question is going to focus on growth, development, and infrastructure capacity. So Cape Coral's rapid growth places pressure on the roads, utilities, drainage, public safety, parks, water resources, and our overall quality of life. The mayor's role is not to manage development alone, but to guide city policy, planning, budgeting, and accountability so infrastructure can keep pace with the growth. So here's the question. As Cape Coral continues to grow, what do you believe city government must do differently to better align development with infrastructure? And that can include utilities, transportation, drainage, public safety, and the overall quality of life. But also tell us and the hearers here in this event why you believe what you believe.
Do it in 1 minute and less. So here's the thing. Communication is key when you talk about how can we be better at doing and serving our role as a government official. You know, with the issue is when you talk about, let's say, our current mayor, you know, when has he been out to the public? When has he been coming and holding town halls? When has he been sitting down and listening to people that actually truly have issues and then actually decide to do something about it? Because it's hard pressed to find those examples. And that's key, because what happens is, as a mayor, you need to be sitting down with these people, you need to be discussing it. You need to talk about, you know, have partnerships with the big developers and the residents and making sure that they're working along. We did that on our council. You know, you talk about some of the projects, Bimini being built right now. You're talking about the 7 Islands. That started from our council. And it took 10 years because we wanted to make sure that the communication between the public, the developers, and the government and the council were all in sync, making sure that we have the best things in place for our city.
Thank you. All right, Lisa's next.
Growth should pay for growth. Developers do not pay their fair share. This is a huge issue. Again, back to the infrastructure. It's a massive issue that we are dealing with. We have constantly put the cart before the horse in our government. They do not think about what's going on underneath the ground. They care about what they can build and how high they can build it. They don't care about the impact that they put on our community, the congestion, the traffic, all the things, the drainage, that there's constant flooding in the city now. The more concrete we put down, the more flooding there will be. That's just the reality of it. And if we don't focus on that, we're going to have more issues. So this is a massive issue in our community, and this needs to be where our focus lies at all times. And as everybody's saying, how do we slow down the development? Focus on the infrastructure. If we keep focusing on the infrastructure until that's all fixed, then we don't have to worry about how high they're going to build the buildings. And they need to pay their fair share. It's an 80-20 rule for the commercial industry, and it works best.
Thank you.
First thing we have to do is slow down the building and work on the infrastructure first. If we don't have a good infrastructure, that's where we have all our problems. You know, we're buying water from different places, and they're drilling wells are going dry from people's houses, and they're going to be forced to pay for the UEP. Right? It's over $35,000. Who can afford that? We have people leaving right now because they can't afford it. Most people live on Social Security, maybe $800, $900 a month. Look how many houses are in foreclosure this year so far. Probably over 400 or more. Can't be exact, right? So that's a big issue. And we got to figure that out and find out how to get grants to help out with the infrastructure and pay that stuff instead of being a burden on us. Not loans. We have to pay those back. Let's get grants. There's grants out there. You we can get them. That's what we need to focus on. How can we help out the community as a leader? I will do that every single day, try to find ways to help the community and listen to the community first. Because they are the ones that put us in office to represent them. It's not the other way around. That's what I'm doing for it. Bring my leadership to the community and represent the community instead of the other way around. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, next question focuses on campaign support, conflicts of interest, and public trust. So public confidence in city government depends on both legal compliance and visible impartiality. The city council decisions may involve the developers, vendors, contractors, employees, campaign donors, and so forth, with interests that they bring before the city. So this issue is not only whether a candidate promises to recuse oneself, but how candidates would evaluate the situation and actually protect public trust. So here's the question for you. If a matter involving a major campaign donor or a business associate, whether it be a client, an employer, or some developer who say supported your campaign, came before City Council, please tell us, what process would you use to determine whether disclosure is needed, you need legal guidance, abstention, or another action if it's appropriate? But please share your process. We're looking for your process.
I'll lead the way for you guys. So listen, I want to be very clear, the state doesn't require very much when it requires us to be like, okay, a donor, somebody gave me $1,000 and I'm voting on an issue that does that. The state really doesn't have any say where it says, oh, you need to require that. But ethically, you should make sure that people know that and understand that. I have two examples for you when I was on council. The first one is the unions. I got some good support and money from the unions in 2013 when I ran and won. And the first thing we did was vote on their contracts, and I voted no for the police and fire. Because I wasn't looking out for the unions, I was looking out for the city. The golf course was the same way. I was in District 4, I was the District 4 council member, and I wasn't supportive of buying the property at $25 million plus the millions more that would have cost. But I was trying to save as much land as possible by preserving 50% from a developer. So I also didn't support that because, again, it was the focus of the city. And that's what's important when you're looking at candidates is, are they focused on the city or are they focused on their donors and the people of special interest?
Thank you, Richard. Lena, we'll go now to Lisa. Lisa Cohen-Adkinson.
So I hear a lot of questions about conflict of interest because my husband works for the city. Now, I don't see that as a conflict of interest. I see that as actually something that we can use as a benefit for the residents because we understand where the problems are. So when people come to me and they bring me the problems and they say, hey, listen, I saw this happening over there, I can do something about it now. So I don't see that as a negative. I see that as a huge positive. So kind of to say, I know where the bodies are buried, right? So now I know where to focus in, where to look and see those things. So that's not necessarily the other part of that as far as I don't see that as a conflict, is where I'm going with that. Now, if, for example, if I did take a big donation from a developer and they wanted me to do something and vote in their favor, I would absolutely back out and not vote. I would abstain from voting on that if that was what I felt like they wanted me to do, or they said something like that to me. I would never do that. I don't take donations from developers either. So, I mean, there's that.
Thank you for sharing, Lisa. Now we have Richard Erickson.
Here we go. I'm not a politician. I have no ties to any special interests, okay? I don't have any, I'm like good old boys, backyard deals. I respect the sunshine law. As you see, if you can check, I am funding this all by myself. I get a few donations here and there, but I don't want any donations from anybody that could be a conflict of interest. I think if anyone gets any amount from a conflict of interest, they should return it. It doesn't matter how much it is, $500, $1,000, whatever, $10,000. But I don't think that should be allowed, actually. But me, I turn it back. I haven't received any, and I won't. If I do, they go back to the person. I think it's too unethical, and it's a conflict of interest. And I'm against that. That's one of the reasons why I'm running, because I don't like seeing what what's going on, conflict of interest, and backdoor deals. I'm against that, and I want the best for the community, and bring my leadership here for that. Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate you all sharing that. The next topic is taxes, fees, assessments, and essential services. So Cape Coral residents, as we know, are facing pressure on the property taxes and costs and so forth. But at the same time, the city must fund essential services such as fire, police, emergency. We know that the mayor influences these decisions through council votes, budget priorities, and the oversight of the city manager's proposed budget. So the question is, as mayor, what principles would guide your budget decisions when balancing fiscal responsibility, including the taxes, fees, assessments, and so forth for these essential city services? We're looking to hear what your principles are that would guide your budget decisions.
First and foremost, health, safety, welfare, any role of government. Outside of that, you're asking a lot of gray area on whether or not the people support that or not. I give a perfect example, Bimini East. That was a huge multi-million-dollar project that I fought against with that past city council, asked them not to purchase that, and it came to one philosophy. It's not the role of government to focus in on that type of project. Now, we can make things easier. We can make sure that the permitting process isn't diluted, that people aren't coming back and back with the same issue in permits. We can make sure that when somebody has to vacate a roadway, that we can make that as easy as possible. We need to be cutting the red tape in government, focusing and allowing them for businesses, small and large, including residents, to be successful. It isn't fair when somebody comes to your property and says that this pipe that you want to fix is in the wrong spot. And then the other person says, no, it was the right spot. And then they come back and say, no, it's in the wrong spot. It isn't right. These are the type of issues we need to fix in our city.
Thank you.
I apologize, can you repeat that? I find it
Yes,
all
no problem.
over.
So we're looking at, as mayor, what principles would guide your budget decisions when balancing fiscal responsibility in terms of taxes, fees, assessments, and so forth? We're looking at the principles you use to guide your budget decisions.
Well, I use my own moral compass, first of all, and my strong leadership skills. I know it's I don't want to say weak, it's a weak mayor system, but I'll use a strong leader in that system. But my biggest thing is use my ethics and morals to get with the community and everyone that's working on those situations and let them, we all decide as a team. I mean, it's not just me. So we have to all decide what the best route is to make that happen. One person can't decide, that's a deep subject, and it's really hard to do it in 1 minute, 2 seconds is asking. And so that would take a lot of time, a lot of conferences, a lot of meetings, a lot of oversights. I would like to have oversight committees with me when I decide stuff like that. It's not just me, and the more people, the better when it comes to decisions for the community, not just one. Leave it on there.
Thank you. Thank you. And now for Lisa.
Needs over wants. When we have to make cuts in our own homes, the city needs to make cuts as well. When we're in a good time, we can spend more money, we can do more things that actually bring benefit. And obviously, we're always looking to make money for the community. If it's going to lighten the burden on the taxpayers, then we should do that. If it's not going to lighten the burden on the taxpayers, we shouldn't do that. Now, if it's a need, like the infrastructure, the failing infrastructure, we need to focus on those things. That's the kind of leadership that I will bring to the table as the mayor. That is what is absolutely required, that we need to be fiscally responsible as the leader for our community. We need to be looking at the bottom lines. We need to see where we're spending too much money. We need to make the cuts where it needs to happen. We don't need to be so top heavy, because that is a massive issue in our city right now as we stand right now. We are looking at bankruptcy in Cape Coral. We cannot allow that to happen, and we need to make massive changes. That's what needs to happen.
Thank you all. We have the last question we're going to ask. This is rooted in accountability, lessons learned, and restoring public confidence. So this gets back to effective leadership. Effective leadership requires the ability to be able to evaluate past decisions and to do so honestly, to learn from mistakes, and to improve future decision-making. And for the mayor, this includes governance, planning, budgeting, growth management, and so forth with infrastructure, public safety, and public trust. The question is, looking back over the past 5 years, what is one major decision, or perhaps it's a policy direction, or a missed opportunity by Cape Coral City government that you believe should have been handled differently? And then please explain why.
I'm going to say actually that the stipend was a major big one. That was a really big one right there. That one really upset the community. And listen, I understand nobody's perfect, but when you double down on stupid and you go for it a second time, that's really bad as leadership. Now, I will absolutely always come back to the impact. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and we do have to learn from them. And that is my promise as your mayor, that I will make sure that when the community comes to me and they say, Lisa, this was not the way we wanted this to go, then we need to make an adjustment. That needs to be the center of everything, is when you get that feedback from your community, when they show up and they speak at a council meeting and they tell you don't do this, don't do it. When they pack a room the way they'll pack a room, you need to listen. That's the clear indicator right there that what you're doing is wrong when they pack a room. So, and I know because we pack a lot of rooms and they don't listen. And that's got to be really at the top of everything. We have to listen to the community.
Thank you.
Sure.
I think the biggest thing we did wrong was making decisions to allow the rapid growth before we had the infrastructure fixed. We have to have an equal balance in there. If we have an equal balance, then everything else will balance out, of course. That was the biggest one. If we can get our infrastructure, which includes the UEP, we might have a resolution to the water issues we have here. Which also goes back to why people are leaving here. People are moving out of Cape Coral faster than you think. Like I said, over 400 foreclosures. That's not a good sign. Everywhere you go, there's yard signs up being sold. We got to find a resolution for that, and that's the biggest mistake there. Yeah, I go to stipend too. Like I said, no stipend. That was a big mistake. Got to work together. They don't give people the opportunity to speak first before they vote. They vote first on a situation, and then at the end of the meeting, they allow people to talk. 3 minutes. When I'm there, if it takes longer, we speak until we're done. Except for right now. I got 6 seconds. But all these topics take a while. You just can't, 1 minute can't do it. You know what I mean? I see it.
Think fast on your feet. Thank you.
When you look at the one singular issue that affected us the last 5 years as a community, it was the stipend. We ran a whole election on it. 5 candidates were elected for it and ended it. And 3 of them, including one of our opponents that chose not to show up today, decided that it was a good idea and to continue for it. It is wrong. Those are the type of ethical issues that we are trying to get rid out of our government to ensure that the people are leading. I was proud to be able to lead that stipend fight. I was able to get 8,000 signatures. We were able to put that in the forefront of our council, and we kept hammering them every day until that election. And I made that promise at that city council meeting. I said, if you don't reverse it now, I promise you, it will take you to election day, and that promise was fulfilled. So thankfully, we are going to get past that and focus on the real issues that are affecting our city.
Thank you. That's the conclusion of all our questions. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate you being here and also answering these questions.
Thank you. The mayor of Cape Coral is legally designated as a nonpartisan office, and a party registration will not show on the ballot. That being said, the sitting mayor and a candidate for re-election is not present tonight. Can you address your feelings about that, please? Richard?
Well, it makes me sad, because this is the process in which we get to air out our laundry, to talk about the issues, to really define how we proceed as a city moving forward. This is an opportunity for all the candidates that are able to come speak. I'm saddened that some of them chose not to, but really look at the history. While we are saddened, we are not surprised. And I think that's why you find 3 of us here now ready to take on that role.
Lisa?
You know, it really doesn't bother me that they don't show up. I think it should show you what they think of you guys more than anything else. I think that's really the most important part of it. I look at it like I care enough to be here. The other care enough to be here. They didn't care enough to be here. And I agree it's a nonpartisan race and we should care about Cape Coral issues above all else. And that's what we're doing. And we're coming up with solutions. Some of us are coming up with solutions to fix the problems. Because without the solutions, what's the point? We need to have an idea of how we're going to fix this. And they obviously don't care, they're not even here.
Here we go. I think it's disgusting. You have a key leader that is in a mayor position right now, and he's not here, but he's still running. And another person. I think our leadership has to be set an example for the community, not the way they're at. They didn't show up. I was knocking on doors since 7 o'clock this morning and talking to the community because I'm going to represent the community when I'm mayor. And I want to know their voice and their opinions because that's what we're supposed to do. That's what they don't do right now. That's why it made me want to run for mayor. I want to retire here and spend time in Cape Coral. It's a beautiful country, not country, city with 400 miles of canals. And I just couldn't sit back and watch this happen. So I finished at 3:30 and I made sure I got here for this to show the people that I'm here for the people. And if I get in that position, I will lead like I am today, making my way here for you so you can see what I'm made of. Because I am a leader and I will show you that when I'm mayor. Thank you.
All right, before we let you go, we'd love to have your 2-minute speech on the closing statement from you. We again appreciate you being here. I'll let you decide who goes first.
Why not? I'm doing it all night. Ladies first.
Okay, I'll take it. I made a couple of notes there. So again, I'm running for mayor, and the reason I'm doing that is to make sure that we can afford to live here in the next 5 years. Because right now, that's the biggest obstacle that we're facing as a community is the affordability. One of the biggest things that I have done since I've lived here for the last 36 years, I've been a fighter, I've been a watchdog for over 15 years. I've been at the lectern where I've been, fighting with council and trying to stop tax increases that are constantly happening. And of course, it just went away. One of the biggest things that I did, I still hold the record for the largest savings in the city's history right now. So I was on the Public Safety Building Committee. They gave us a $110 million budget. We got it done for $23 million. We saved the taxpayers $87 million. That still holds the record in city history right now as the largest savings in our community. I'm not just running for affordability, I'm running for my family, I'm thinking about my children, I'm thinking about what we're leaving them behind other than the massive debt. And that's what we've got right now. We have a lot of debt and we have no plan to pay it off. And that's what we need to be focused on. So I'm thinking about them, I'm looking at them, they're my North Star. I have to answer to somebody bigger in the end. And that's what it comes down to. So I want to make sure that everything that I'm doing isn't going to cost me eternity. As a God-fearing woman, that is extremely important to me.
Well, it's a little difficult because I don't have any notes or anything, but I just want to say that I'm running for mayor because I want this community better. I have children, and they have children. I grew up here, I've been here since 1987 in Cape Coral, 87, 88. I just see the way it's going. Like I said, I think we do a better job. First, we need to start with listening to the community. Let them tell us what we need to do, and we'll do it. We also need to think that Cape Coral is a Pearl Heart city, a veteran city, and we're not doing a lot for them as well. I also work with the JROTC. It's the school which want to make them as the new future leaders of our community, and that's why I'm doing this as well, because they need leadership and guidance on how to become adults for this community and make the better way ahead for us, which most people don't do. There's not a lot to do. We need more green space, and we can do it, but we gotta work together. Like I said, 1 minute, 2 minutes is not enough time to sit back and say all these things we're discussing, but I'm here, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to get my hands dirty. I'm not a politician, right? You give me a mission, I'll make it happen. We'll discuss it, do it the right way, we'll find the best course of action, and that's what I'm here about. Bringing leadership to the country, community, and our city. I added all those for you. And making it happen. That's the bottom line. What can we do for our city, and can we listen to them and do what they want, not what we want? And I will work with everyone possible, to include the city manager, and then we will make it happen. Thank you so much.
Let's mix it up a little bit. I just want to get some insight on the room. How many of you live in Cape Coral? This is awesome. I'm really glad to see that. Out of those who raised their hands, how many of you are still undecided on who you're going to vote for mayor? Okay, perfect. We have a few. Okay, so those are the people I'm talking to at this time. Okay. He still doesn't know yet. No. I think it's important, you hear a lot of candidates sit there and talk and, give your promises, what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, what they're going to leave. The biggest difference between myself and any other candidate is that I have the record to prove I'm going to lead for you, the people. And it's that simple. We're going to focus, we're going to work together, we're going to fight for the rights that the city has lost over the last 4 or 5 years, 9 years with this current mayor, and really bring back that leadership. I'm going to focus on that infrastructure. We're going to focus on everything that the roads, everything that you're talking about, but most importantly, we're going to focus on the policies of the city, cutting that red tape to ensure that people can grow in our city. Because it isn't just, we look at, we're going to pound the UEP, we're losing 400 homes. That's not in the UEP area. That's a conversation that we've had for years. Every UEP section has had this conversation. This isn't anything new our city's doing. If you've lived here long enough, you know that these problems come back around and around and around, and we're promised the same promises round and round and round, and no one ever delivers. I'm here tonight to tell you I'm delivering. We're going to fight for you. We're going to change the city of Cape Coral, and we are going to be the leaders in the state, and hopefully with the homestead exemption, we will cut everything we can to ensure no waste. I ask for your vote, I ask for your sympathy, I ask for your prayers, anything that you can send positive my way and their way. This is a tough decision that you have to make, and I can't thank you enough for being part of it.
That concludes our evening. First off, I want to let you guys know that we are having a candidate open house at the GOP office on August 5th from 5:30 to 7. So that gives everybody an opportunity to get one-on-one with these candidates. It's the last opportunity from the GOP for you to engage with the candidates. Also, it's very important. Republicans outnumber Democrats in Lee County 2-1. So the primary basically dictates the general election results. If you win the primary, you're probably going to win the general election. That's why these forums, these debates are so critical. We want to put the best and the brightest up as our Republican candidates, because if they win the primary, they will probably win the general election. We need to be informed voters. So take what you heard here today, take it back to your communities, talk to your neighbors, your friends, your family, and let them know what you heard here today. Please look for the badge. Again, it is not an endorsement from the GOP, but it will tell you the candidates that voluntarily lift themselves up to a higher standard of ethical behavior. So I thank you all for being here. God bless America, and God bless Lee County.
Yeah.
Many people keep telling me about these Cape Coral mayor candidates. Tremendous stuff, believe me. Go to LeeGOP.org. Check out the other candidate forums and learn more about becoming a member. It's going to be huge.